I'm going to guess that you've probably heard a number of these lines before. Buy low, sell high. Time in the market beats timing the market. Maybe that old Buffett classic, fear versus greed. And these phrases, they get repeated so often that people either forget or maybe don't even know in the first place where they came from and the problem that they were actually solving in the first place. And once a quote gets separated from its initial context, it can actually start working against you instead of for you, and you're usually not even aware of it. And today I'm going to go through 8 of the most repeated lines in investing. You're going to hear them over and over and over, and each one sounds like a rule, but none of them actually are. Now, I've grouped these into 3 groups. Some are oversimplified things that you hear until they actually lose their original meaning. Some come from famous investors who get quoted without the context that they intended when they said these words, and some can genuinely just hurt your returns if you take them literally. So let's go all 3 types. I want to start with one of the ones you're going to hear most, and that is buy low, sell high. This might be the most overused saying out there. Now, people will hear this and they assume that a falling price means buy, right? That's the buy signal. Well, I'm here to tell you that it isn't. A lower price in and of itself does not automatically mean that you're getting better values. There's lots of good investments that get bought because they're undervalued, but not just because the ticker price happens to be down, happens to be going through a slump, right? If a stock has been cut in half, for example, after a bad earnings report, it could be genuinely cheap, or it could be that there is a business here that has some real problems and they just got repriced correctly. And that move in and of itself doesn't tell you which of those 2 you're looking at. So buy low, sell high might end up being buy low and sell even lower. Now, next you're going to hear, don't catch a falling knife. Now, this one gets used a lot just to justify staying out of every single decline. If you're a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive to get in, this might keep you out of the market, just thinking that the markets are going to continue to fall. Now, the real lesson here is about checking whether the business underneath the stock is still sound before you buy something just because it got cheaper. If you avoid every single decline, well, that was never the point of this particular saying. Some falling knives just keep falling because the business is actually broken. There's no doubt about that. However, some bottom out. They might become the best entries of the entire year. So the quote in and of itself isn't telling you which of those you're looking at. Now, third, time in the market beats timing the market. And that is right up there with the buy low, sell high as one of the most repeated lines that you're going to hear in investing and in personal finance. Now, people take it to mean sometimes never sell, never rebalance, never hold cash. And if you stay invested over the long run, that does usually beat trying to predict short-term moves, and it does sort of hold up over time. But it does not mean that risk management stops mattering when you buy something, for example, an index fund. You're going to hear a lot of this with index fund. You can stay invested for decades. You can still rebalance. You can still hold some cash for opportunities. You can still adjust your exposure as your life changes, right? None of that, in my opinion, contradicts the original point. Now, I want to move on to some famous quotes that lost their context. The first one is greed and fear. Warren Buffett said, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. And a lot of investors use this line to justify buying every single dip. Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Now, what Buffett was really describing here is how emotion creates mispricing in the market. He certainly wasn't sort of handing out a blanket instruction to buy every correction regardless of what the underlying business was doing. And if we think back to the great financial crisis back in 2008, that meant buying businesses that were fundamentally sound, but they were priced like they were falling, right? It didn't mean go out and buy anything just because it was down, including companies that were genuinely in trouble. Now, diversification is another thing. Buffett said, diversification is protection against ignorance. And some investors will use that line to justify holding 5 stocks, very highly concentrated, and they call that a strategy. Now, Buffett said that about investors who had decades of expertise in a small number of businesses. He's also said for almost everyone else, diversification is still one of the best tools that you have for managing your risk. In fact, if you look at Berkshire Hathaway, he runs a portfolio that looks nothing like most individual investors' account, but it is built on a level of research that most people don't have the time or the background for. So when you hear that, keep the context, think who's saying it. It certainly doesn't apply to every single person out there, especially for beginners. Now, another one, Ray Dalio's line, cash is trash. I'm sure you've heard that as well. And if you take that literally, it does sound like holding any cash is a mistake. Now, what Dalio was actually describing was how inflation erodes purchasing power over time. He was not arguing against an emergency fund or against keeping some liquidity on hand for opportunities. Definitely, cash losing value against inflation is a legitimate problem, but that's different from having no cash at all. Now, a couple more here. These are ones that can actually hurt your returns if you don't know what they're actually trying to say. First one, the market always goes up. And this one sounds pretty safe, right? Because over long periods of time, the broad markets have definitely trended upward. That is a statement, though, about the whole markets, not about any single stock that you own, or not necessarily about any single sector that you own. Individual companies, they can go to zero and they can stay there, right? Some markets have gone decades without recovering. Even broad markets have gone decades without recovering back to their old highs. So believing this line without the qualification is how people end up holding a losing position for years and years, waiting for a recovery that certainly wasn't guaranteed in the first place. In fact, and often it never comes along. Now, last thing here, you can't go broke by taking profits. And this sounds like permission to sell your winners early and to sell them on a regular basis. Now, sometimes locking in gains, I believe, is the right call. I use that strategy in my own portfolio. However, selling your best performers too soon, that's also one of the most common ways that investors cap their own long-term compounding. The stocks that build real wealth, usually those are the ones that people held on through the longest, through pullbacks that felt very uncomfortable at the time. Now, I do want to be very clear here. I'm not saying that you should throw out every one of these rules completely, right? Most of them started as good advice, built around a real observation at the time, or specifically about human behavior, because that can really trip us up. The problem here is when you apply them without that context that made them true in the first place. For beginner investors, people who haven't been around in this game for a long time, I can't emphasize how important this is. Markets move on a lot of different things like rate decisions, headlines, a handful of mega cap names that are driving most of the returns or losses, as we've seen lately. And it is tempting to sort of simplify things and reach for that rule instead of doing the homework, doing your own due diligence. It's true, simple rules are easier to repeat than they are to apply them correctly. But before you act on any of these lines, ask what specific situation they're actually built for and whether your situation actually matches that. These quotes have survived because they sound true, right? Most of them are, in fact, true in the right context. Your job here is not to memorize them and act blindly. Your job is to understand what they were actually describing so you know when to apply them to your portfolio and when you don't. And that is a pretty small shift in how you think about them, and it changes how useful they actually are. And that can be the difference between repeating investment wisdom and actually using it properly. Please subscribe, give the video a like, forward it if you feel like it. As always, I'll say thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.